Salutations, dear viewers. You're on with Nexon of the Vast Nexus, and welcome back to another Fortnite video. This is the first in a hat trick of squads wins with my co-collaborator, ZKA, and some of our mutual friends. Well, one of our mutual friends in particular. This match has taken quite a long time to edit. It is from last season. Once again, I have to preface that by saying at time of recording, it was last season. And while I was editing this, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't already nostalgic for Chapter 2, Season 4, and the whole Marvel crossover, because that was pretty cool. And the event was cool. Even more so because I was actually able to attend it this time. We'll see if that's an anomaly or the start of a trend. Bursts are not great for precision fire. So the reason the editing on this one took so long, there were a lot of intercuts, and I'm not running some $100 video editing software, so I can't just overlay like multiple playbacks in different tracks and then just switch them on and off. I have to clip and then sync, and it's a big hassle, but fortunately this level of intercutting I only do rarely, so it's not a huge issue. Besides, these matches were quite memorable for me and was probably some of our best performance. I will admit the lobby was not exactly of a high tier of skill, so hate on that if you must, but we had fun, which is a rarity for Fortnite. I mean, honestly, for those who've seen how I perform in this game, looking at that kill feed, you know, my personal timeline, that's definitely not a normal thing for a match for me at all, ever. So our first major engagement happened around Caddy, which is quite busy. I actually did not come off very strong at the start of this, but by the end, I was definitely an active and aggressive participant. Honestly, if you're looking for chief aggressor in this match, it was ZKA. He was charging in like he had, you know, a shark with blood in the water. Of course, that also was accompanied by a bit of loot goblinery, which was not quite as cool for the rest of us. So Z tried to do a cool thing here. A second hit probably would have done it, but ultimately, with this guy not even throwing up a wall, I just told both of them, get in there and just get this guy already. God, that ADing. It's as bad enough as it's as bad as lean swapping in Rainbow Six Siege. So we're going to stick with Z here for a minute, because I'm going to be literally healing up for the next half a minute because of that hit. and there's Z lunging at the enemy again. Yeah, I didn't feel like getting sniped again, so I backed down there when I realized that he was, like, pointing something at me. And there's that, like, I'm just gonna go in here and shotgun this guy. So, I have to give Z credit for giving me the higher tier of sniper rifle. I am sort of the team's designated marksman. My accuracy with the burst in this match notwithstanding. Now, at this point, we pushed north as opposed to circle because we were hoping to get one of those gatherers or the gorgers. Unfortunately, where it had moved, it ended up out of zone. So we didn't really have a chance to go for that. Two members out of the squad, and yes, this is a squads match. As you can tell by the 4 little figurines in the top left and the fact that there's 26 groups in the match in total. Trios and a squads match. I don't know why we weren't running trios. I'm not sure if it was a standardized game mode at the time. I'm glad that it's becoming one. That's a nice change of pace. Question is, where would trios turn up in your sort of career stats? Would you list it under squads? Are they going to create like a trio section for it? That's actually curious. I'll have to look into that. Yes, the benefit of not playing with randoms is that you can have a squad that far, far better coordinated on the assault or even on the defense. Now this is weird because I hit him with that boogie bomb and he kept shooting. And I don't think he took a hit to disrupt the effect. But then again, Z in a minute here is going to shotgun somebody twice with no damage actually registering. So the servers were being really weird during this match. I pinged that enemy before I took the shot, but I completely knackered the shot, so that went absolutely nowhere. No damage. No damage. Like I said, the servers were being weird. Oh, I connected to that hit. Hi, Ocean. Bye, Ocean. So yes, I pressed forward at this point. Storm was advancing in, and fundamentally, you know, it's better if as much of the squad can get out of the storm without taking storm damage as possible. If you have meds, it's less of an issue, but that still means you're leaning on a finite amount of healing supplies. You don't want to, you know, have that be a consistent problem. We have had far worse storm circles, though. And I've noticed that perhaps I'm just so well versed in shooters in general that I'm always subconsciously putting something between me and the enemy, even though fundamentally in Fortnite you can just spontaneously conjure something to act as a bullet shield. And quite frequently I hot swap weapons to avoid reloading, which means that I end up having to reload everything at the same time. Now, this guy had to be AFK or something, because he was just standing there until I actually took the shot. Replay glitches are fun. Like when you slide down a hill instead of walking for some reason. I definitely want to swap from the burst to that AR just so I could, like, hit individual shots and not have that bit of spread. Now, I was definitely feeling exposed here because we had a little powwow about ammunition requirements and weapon changeouts, and I was like, really? Here? We're going to do it here. Close to center of the map, in the open, outside of the circle. This is probably the worst place imaginable, and we didn't even throw up a structure. I don't know, that red backpack on my dark-colored character skin looks a little ostentatious. I suppose they're only going to see it if they're behind me, and if they're behind me, I'm already screwed. Works on Iron Man, of course. That, you know, makes perfect sense. Yeah, the intercuts at the end of this required me to actually split the video in the editing process into a first half and a second half. Although, admittedly, I did cheap out on the final cut. I was planning on having more bouncing back and forth between us, but it just, the cutting process itself got so chaotic. Did I go for that supply drop? Yeah, I think I did go for that supply drop. We do not like it when we get pushed near Salty Springs. It's just a sweat magnet. Interestingly, since it became merged with Tilted, it has become significantly less popular for some reason. Which is weird, because Tilted used to be a sweat magnet too. So, two positives make a negative. We ultimately decided to set up at the bridge because it's a structure, and a structure that isn't player built is less likely to draw suspicion. I mean, the sweats never resort to stealth, usually. But at the same time, I've noticed a lot more people in Fortnite using good stealth tactics. And the third win that we got in a row, the second one that we got in a row, had not only us, but the semi-finalist team being really subtle and sneaky about it. So I was keeping an eye on these guys bouncing around in Salty Springs because, of course, if they're in Salty, they're probably something to worry about. But these guys, while we were scoping out them, they were scoping out us. It didn't quite go well for them. Trying to play a stealth play like this with a Stark drone wandering around, it just doesn't work. And that shot passed between me and Z while dealing 0 damage. Where's Nex? Can you spot me? He didn't. Oh, he almost got this heal off, too. And they get third-partied by the other team that was in Salty Springs. Meanwhile, I'm playing medic. Yeah, this last guy on the team, Default, being super sweaty right now. Didn't do them any good in the end. Hard to divide your attention between two things at once. Doesn't matter how good you are. I do take great pleasure in delivering those shots. My lead to your brain pan at several hundred feet per second. We deliver. Now, they begin like a weird shell game with Doom's Arcane Gauntlets, which frankly was a bit dumb on their part. Yeah, the attempt to suppress us with that and keep us from going on the aggressive just did not work. And this Wolverine, who's lunging forward pretty much on his own, is about to get it the hard way. Well, thank you all so much for watching. I'm sorry the commentary was a little dry this time around. Even so, I hope you return to watch more things that I've done. I hope you're all staying happy and healthy out there, and as always, fare thee well.